we back. It's been a week. Hope everyone enjoyed their Thanksgiving break. It's getting very cold in Detroit, so as you can see, I got my hat on here with my warm jacket. But let's officially get right back to it, man. The NBA is here. It's in full effect. The product has been very good. But last night, I might have witnessed the worst loss of the NBA season. And no, I'm not talking about the Los Angeles Lakers getting blown out by 44 points by a Philadelphia 76ers team that looks like they can be a finals contender. No, I'm actually talking about the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers are a team that, as we know, traded for James Harden. It takes time for things to work, so the patience is understandable. But to lose a game where there is no Nikola Jokic, there is no Jamal Murray, and you lose to, also there was no Aaron Gordon either. So really, it was the DeAndre Jordan and Reggie Jackson show. And you want to know why I can say that? Let me read you off what these guys had in this game. Reggie Jackson, 15 for 19 shooting from the field. That's 78.9%. 75% from three. That's 3 for 4 from the three-point line. 35 points and 13 assists. Reggie Jackson, 35 points and 13 assists. And then DeAndre Jordan, a backup big who most people say just shouldn't play basketball, 33 minutes played, 8 for 11 from the field, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, a block, and 2 steals. That's what they both gave you. They combined, I'm pretty sure, outproduced Paul George, Westbrook, Kawhi, and Harden. And I got to say, man, look, it's going to take some time, but watching the Clippers is very hard because I feel like offensively, they don't know what they consistently want to get to. I saw multiple possessions where it just came down to ISO ball or them trying to settle for threes. The shot quality was very tough. They had a lot of guys in the paint in the fourth quarter. And James Harden, listen, I'll say this again. It's going to take time, but James Harden looked terrible last night, especially in the second half. In the second half, I'm pretty sure he didn't take a shot. No, sorry. In the fourth quarter specifically, with about 8 minutes played, James Harden didn't take a single shot. He had 2 turnovers. He looked like he was just out there coasting. And it's tough because guys are trying to figure out how they fit in. Harden is trying to fit more into that playmaking role. But to not have any scoring threat about him, I think it made the Clippers way easier to guard because Harden wasn't really doing much of anything for the entire night. For the entire night, I think he finished with 11 points. Barely rebounded, barely assisted the ball. It was just a game where he was very inactive. And for Kawhi Leonard, this is another guy that we have to get to, right? I respect Kawhi Leonard. I think he's one of the best players in the league. I think he's having a very slow start. He finished his game with 31 points, but in the second half of the game specifically, Kawhi Leonard, in my opinion, struggled. He went 4 for 14, 28% from the field, 0 for 2 from 3, 14 points. He didn't turn the ball over, which is good, but it just felt like he was taking a lot of tougher shots. And I feel like that's a product of the Clippers offense, again, not knowing what it wants to get to. And then on the other end, they had so many possessions where Reggie Jackson would just throw this high lob pass to DeAndre Jordan because they would have their big have to play in between stopping the ball handler and the lob threat, and they just picked them apart over and over and over, and they just ultimately walked them down. And then on defense, they would just pack the paint. I saw many times where they would run 3-2 or 2-3 sometimes, zone that is, and they would literally just wall them up and force tougher shots. And it's just rough. And Paul George, again, in this game, also, Paul George wasn't that great. I mean, 2 for 13 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3, 5 personal fouls, 6 points. I mean, it was a rough night for the Clippers. And again, I can keep saying it's early, but we're about to be in December now. At some point, once you reach January or February, especially post-trade deadline, you are who you are. So they're going to have to evaluate some things. It's going to take a bigger sample size for them to learn how to play together. But things look kind of rough out there offensively for the Clippers. And I got to say, again, to lose a game where there's no Jokic, there's no Jamal Murray, and you're getting cooked by Reggie Jackson and DeAndre Jordan, that's a cause for concern to me. That's not a great sign. And also defensively, I'm sorry, but James Harden and Terrence Mann, in terms of like their screen navigation and just like dying on ball, James Harden was an instant blow by. In the fourth quarter, they were running plays where Reggie Jackson would get the isolation on Harden. It was a quick blow by, and it would lead to either a free throw for Reggie Jackson, or he would throw the ball up to DeAndre Jordan, or they would foul. Like one of those two things happened. And there was another play late in the game where, because they don't want Harden guarding Reggie Jackson, Paul George is looking over, like watching where Reggie's going. And once he does that, he swings the ball over to Michael Porter Jr., who hits a big three. And by the way, Michael Porter Jr. wasn't even good in this game. He was 3 for 13. Like, he rebounded the ball well, sure, but I mean, in terms of his shot making, he had 5 personal fouls. He only played 28 minutes, basically, and he had 8 points, right? And with MPJ, it's funny because he's a player that can give you 30 or give you 10. That's like the variance for Michael Porter Jr. So seeing how these things play themselves out for Denver is a very interesting thing. It's a long season, but to not have any Jokic and still win this game, you got to feel very, very impressed. A lot of their younger players got time to play and just, get those game reps versus the Clippers. But the fact that they can just feel confident in beating the Clippers to where your best and your second best player don't have to play, and your third best player in Aaron Gordon doesn't have to play, this is a very bad loss. Now, obviously, I mentioned the Lakers game earlier on, but the Sixers are just good. If you watch them the entire year, the Sixers, after trading James Harden, ironically, have had so much ball movement. They look like a great team. They have length at a lot of positions. They shoot the three. They just play winning basketball. And Joel Embiid is taking a big leap in terms of his playmaking, how he finds guys, how he's looking up to, involve people in the offense. I mean, he had a triple-double in 3 quarters, right? That was huge. And on the other side of that game, I got to say this, right? I read you off the stats for DeAndre Jordan, right? 21 points, 13 rebounds, 3 stocks, right? For the Lakers, this is a game where B-Ball Paul was essentially alluding to the fact that Anthony Davis is like a flopper where like he just tries to sell contact. And he was talking about how, well, if we're going to have success, I need to not fall for that. Anthony Davis had 17 points, 11 rebounds, 2 stocks. That's what he had, right? DeAndre Jordan, physically, you could argue outplayed him, which is crazy. I'm not going to yell that from roots out because we all know Anthony Davis is a much better player. But it seems like whenever you get like these marquee matchups against big men like this, Anthony Davis has these moments where he's just not the guy that you need him to be. But this wasn't an Anthony Davis problem for why they lost. It was just a team problem. I mean, they just got 3 after 3 after 3, and Joel Embiid just simply outplayed everyone on the court. Tyrese Maxey, again, continues his most improved campaign, his all-star campaign. 31 points for Tyrese Maxey, 8 assists. It was just a great game, a great day at the office for the Philadelphia 76ers. Marcus Morris off their bench, a guy who was like a throw-in, who wasn't that great on the Clippers, scored a season high 16, 4 for 5 from 3, 6 for 8 from the field. Like, I mean, that's what they got, Like, I mean, they just had multiple guys who gave them great contributions throughout the game. And this Sixers team, Nick Nurse, in my opinion, has to be in these Coach of the Year talks, because what Nick Nurse has done in terms of changing the culture of the way that they play basketball with the ball movement and emphasizing players to be creative in their roles, it's just a new energy. I don't want to say but it's like a new energy around this Sixers team that feels different than years past. You're not seeing as much offensive stagnation. You're seeing guys play hard. You're seeing guys like fit in to everything that they want to do. It doesn't always feel like Joel Embiid or bust. This isn't just Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. It's just everyone is involved and engaged. It feels like fun basketball. And for my co-host Derek, who I've had on the channel before, as you may know, he's been very excited to watch his team play. So, I mean, hey, those were the games. Well, Obviously, there were more games than that yesterday. Sadly, my hometown team, Detroit, lost yet again to the Wizards. Both teams came in they're not basically winning. The Wizards snapped their skid and they beat Detroit. Detroit now falls to, I believe, 2-15, which is just tough. You had two teams that were 2-14. Kuzma, big performance, but Pistons are bad right now, and it's kind of hard to watch. But again, it's a process. It's a longer season. Some guys still aren't healthy to get back, but the product just has been terrible for the most part, and they're a young team. So gotta rebound, gotta shake back, gotta get off this losing streak where they almost might lose 15 or 16 games straight. That's horrible to start a season. So hopefully they can rebound from that. But I mean, hey, Hoops was fun, man. I'm gonna be having a lot more content on the channel as we wrap up. I have a schedule of games I'm gonna be watching. I posted that today in the YouTube community post, so make sure to tap in for that. But I gotta bounce because I got some things I got to attend to. I gotta go to work. It's cold outside, so I'll catch you guys. But stay posted. I'm gonna have more breakdowns. We're also bringing back film spaces, but now we're gonna be looking at film on playback. So follow me on playback, man. It's a great site. You can watch basketball with us if you have a league pass, and even if you don't, on certain days throughout the week, we're going to be doing film spaces where we highlight certain teams or players of the week. So make sure to tap in for that. But don't want to say too much here. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.